Welcome to Professor Cosmo's Sleepy Science, where gentle stories bring the wonders of science to life. Tonight, I'd like to begin with a quiet question, one you can simply allow to float through your thoughts. What if one of the busiest star-forming regions in our galaxy was also one of the quietest places you could ever drift through? My name is Professor Cosmo, and as always, I'll be your gentle guide tonight, here to help you unwind, slow your thoughts, and settle comfortably toward rest, while we explore a little science together. There's nothing you need to do right now. No information to remember. No place you need to go. This is a softly guided experience, designed to help your body relax as your mind drifts. Tonight, we'll be easing our way toward the Orion Nebula, a vast, glowing cloud of gas and ancient stardust resting quietly beneath Orion's belt in the night sky. It's a place where stars are born very slowly, in deep calm, over millions of years. You might already begin to notice a gentle slowing, a sense of being supported as everything around you moves steadily and safely on its own. Above us, on calm and cloudless nights, the constellation of Orion stretches wide and steady across the sky. Its familiar stars feel reassuring, as if they've always been there, quietly watching. Just beneath Orion's belt lies a faint, misty glow, so subtle it can be missed at first glance. This soft light comes from the Orion Nebula, an immense region of space where gas and dust gather patiently, shaping the beginnings of future stars. Despite the remarkable science unfolding within it, this is not a place of urgency. Change here takes millions of years. Clouds drift, particles cool, gravity works calmly, without effort, without strain. Tonight, we won't hurry toward anything. Instead, you'll find yourself aboard a quiet spaceship designed for stillness and comfort. There are no controls to manage, no decisions to make. Everything moves smoothly and automatically, allowing you to rest while the universe drifts gently around you. You may notice your shoulders softening now, your breathing becoming slower, deeper, your eyelids growing heavier with each passing moment. Outside, distant starlight begins to dim as the first thin veils of nebula gas come into view. Inside, the light remains warm and steady, offering a sense of calm and safety. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing you need to do. Only this moment of quiet drifting and the comfort of rest. And now, we are ready to begin our journey. The ship waits in silence, suspended against a wide field of distant stars. Its shape is smooth and unhurried, designed not for speed, but for balance and ease. A soft, even light glows from within the ship. It is neither bright nor dim, remaining steady, as if it already understands the rhythm of rest. As you settle inside, the interior adjusts almost without notice. The seating supports you fully, allowing your body to release its weight without effort or strain. The temperature remains calm and neutral. The air is still, clean, and undisturbed. There is no sound beyond a faint, continuous hum. It is steady and even, like a slow breath repeating itself. Nothing here asks for your attention. There are no sharp edges, no alerts, and no sudden movement. Only space, softness, and time. Beyond the wide window, stars remain fixed for a moment longer, scattered across the darkness in quiet patterns. Their light feels distant and reassuring. Then, very gradually, the ship begins to glide. There is no sense of acceleration and no sensation of pull. It feels less like movement and more like release, as if space itself has chosen to carry the ship forward. Inside, nothing shifts. One moment flows calmly into the next. Out here, distance is measured in light years. Light itself travels patiently between stars, crossing immense stretches of space without urgency. The Orion Nebula lies far ahead, more than 1,000 light-years away. This cruise does not rush toward it. The ship follows a carefully mapped path where motion remains constant, predictable, and smooth. There is no need to wonder where it is going. As the stars drift almost too slowly to notice, a deeper stillness begins to settle within you. Thoughts lengthen, then soften, leaving quiet spaces where tension once remained. At this pace, travel becomes less about arrival and more about letting go. Far ahead, something begins to change. At first, it is barely noticeable. A subtle thinning of darkness, a delicate suggestion of light. This is the outer reach of the Orion Nebula, where interstellar gas gathers in faint layers. Here, space is so open that a single atom may drift for years before encountering another. The ship adjusts its course with gentle precision. No announcements are made, and no awareness is required. Everything continues exactly as it should. Nebulae are often imagined as dramatic, yet their outer edges are among the calmest places in space. Gravity works slowly here, patiently guiding matter without force. Behind you, starlight begins to soften, filtered through the thinnest traces of gas and dust. Ahead, the glow grows warmer and richer, but never bright. Inside the ship, everything remains settled. The light stays steady. The hum continues. Your breathing slows further, finding a rhythm that feels natural, easy, and unforced. With each quiet moment, the Orion Nebula draws closer. Not suddenly, but gently, as if you have always been moving toward this calm. And the ship continues its smooth glide, carrying you patiently deeper into the quiet of the stars. The stars beyond the window begin to soften. They do not disappear, but slowly change, as though a thin curtain has been drawn across the night. At first, the shift is subtle, a gentle dimming, a quiet easing of contrast, where sharp points of light become smoother, rounder, and less defined. You are entering the outer veil of the Orion Nebula. Here, space is no longer completely empty. Individual atoms, mostly hydrogen, drift through the darkness. They are spaced so widely that they may travel for years before encountering another. Even at this distance, they subtly influence the light that passes among them. The ship continues forward without interruption. Its motion remains constant, predictable, and calm, as if it were following an invisible current woven into space itself. Outside, starlight filters through faint threads of gas. Some photons pass through unchanged, others scatter gently, redirected just enough to soften the view. Nebulae rarely begin with clear edges. They arrive gradually, layer by delicate layer, inviting rather than announcing themselves. A single hydrogen atom drifts past the window, unseen yet present all the same. Another follows, and then another. Each carries energy absorbed long ago from distant stars, releasing it only slowly as conditions allow. In these outer regions, temperatures are already low. Molecules move at an unhurried pace. Thermal motion fades toward stillness, allowing matter to linger, to rest, and to gather without effort. You may notice your thoughts beginning to behave in much the same way. They slow and stretch out, leaving more space between one moment and the next. Ahead, the nebula's glow is barely visible. It is not a light exactly, but a suggestion of brightness, as though the darkness itself were becoming more gentle. This faint glow appears when atoms absorb ultraviolet energy and then release it gradually, shedding small amounts of light as they return to balance. There are no sudden flashes here, no sparks and no sharp transitions, only a quiet exchange of energy, moving slowly and patiently over immense spans of time. The Orion Nebula spans many light years, yet from this distance it feels almost intimate. It is less like approaching a distant object, and more like drifting into a calm cloud. Inside the ship, nothing changes. The lighting remains warm and steady. The soft hum continues, even and unbroken. Your body stays fully supported. Gravity is carefully balanced, just enough to feel grounding, and light enough to remain effortless. Outside, the gas grows very slightly denser. It remains thin and calm, but present enough now to tint the stars with a faint veil of softness. This is where the nebula begins its quiet work, where raw elements linger long enough to interact, where the conditions for future stars begin, not with motion, but with stillness. You may feel yourself settling more deeply into rest, as though the surrounding space were gently inviting you to do the same. Nothing pulls at you. Nothing asks for your attention. The ship glides onward, deeper into the softened light and deeper into the Orion Nebula's calm presence. And the farther you move inside, the quieter the universe seems to become. As the ship drifts deeper into the Orion Nebula, the faint light ahead begins to change. Not suddenly and not dramatically, it becomes more present, as though the surrounding darkness is slowly learning how to glow. Outside the window, soft colors begin to emerge. At first they are subtle, little more than a tint. Hints of red appear, along with a suggestion of blue-green, woven gently through the drifting clouds. This glow does not come from fire. Nothing here is burning. There are no flames, no sparks, and no rushing heat moving through space. Instead, the light is created by atoms responding quietly to distant stars. Much of the nebula is made of hydrogen, the simplest and most abundant element in the universe. When energetic light from young stars reaches these hydrogen atoms, it gently excites them, lifting their electrons to slightly higher energy states. The process is calm and invisible. After a time, the electrons settle back down, releasing small amounts of energy as light. This is why hydrogen glows with soft red tones. Not all at once, but gradually, patiently, atom by atom. In other regions, oxygen atoms contribute their own light. When energized in just the right way, they emit a cool blue-green glow, adding depth and contrast to the nebula's colors. These colors do not compete with one another. They unfold slowly across enormous distances, blending gently where different gases overlap. What you are observing is not motion in the usual sense. It is energy relaxing, finding balance, returning quietly toward rest. The light carries no urgency. Each photon takes its time, traveling silently through the gas, eventually reaching the ship's window and continuing onward into space. The glow of the Orion Nebula is a record of countless calm interactions. It is a visible conversation between light and matter, stretching across years and sometimes centuries. From this vantage point, the colors feel soft rather than bright. They seem to hover, suspended in place, never overwhelming. Inside the ship, the interior lighting remains steady, warm, and comforting. The low, continuous hum continues without change, a familiar presence beneath the quiet science unfolding outside. You may notice your eyes growing heavier now as gentle color washes across the view. Your mind does not need to focus on details. It can rest within the glow, allowing thoughts to soften and drift. Here, light becomes a form of calm, a reminder that energy does not always arrive with force. Sometimes it arrives by easing gently into balance. The Orion Nebula glows because it is slowly settling into its future. And as the ship glides onward, guided by patient physics and silent equations, the luminous clouds surround you. Not to demand attention, but simply to accompany you as rest deepens and the universe grows quieter still. Gradually, almost without notice, the soft glow of the nebula begins to fade. It does not disappear, but slowly dims as the ship drifts into regions where light grows scarce and darkness deepens. Here, the shadows feel thicker and more complete. Not heavy, but peaceful. These are the molecular clouds of the Orion Nebula. Vast, quiet regions of space, cold beyond anything experienced on Earth. Temperatures here fall to just a few degrees above absolute zero. Atoms move slowly. Molecules barely stir. Energy no longer rushes forward, but settles into stillness. In this cold, hydrogen atoms begin to pair with one another. Simple molecules form and drift together, lingering in place for immense stretches of time, sometimes for millions of years. Without heat or disturbance, these molecules remain close, suspended gently within the cloud. The ship continues its smooth glide through this darkness. Its motion does not change. It remains unhurried, as though it has entered a place where time itself has softened and slowed. Within these clouds, starlight struggles to pass. Tiny dust grains drift among the gas, ancient particles formed from the remains of long-vanished stars. These grains absorb and scatter light quietly, turning once bright regions into soft shadows. This is why molecular clouds appear dark, even when surrounded by glowing nebulae. They are not empty. They are full, rich with raw material, resting in deep stillness. Here, sound has little meaning. Movement becomes subtle to the point of vanishing. In this quiet, gravity begins its patient work. It does not pull with force or urgency. Instead, it suggests. Gas drifts closer together, so slowly that it feels as though nothing is happening at all. And yet, this is where stars begin. Cold allows particles to remain close. It allows matter to gather without scattering away. In this darkness, the earliest conditions for creation quietly assemble, long before warmth or light ever appear. As the ship passes deeper through these shadowed regions, the environment feels quieter still. Inside, the familiar hum continues, steady and reassuring. Outside, everything seems hushed, as though wrapped in a deep cosmic dusk. Your breathing may naturally deepen now, slowing to match the calm of the clouds. Thoughts drift farther apart, separated by wide, gentle spaces. There is no pressure to think or respond, no urgency to become anything else. Here, pressure dissolves. Change does not rush. The molecular clouds hold their form patiently, suspended between what once was and what will someday be. Inside the ship, the gentle interior light remains warm and constant. Nothing intrudes. Nothing shifts suddenly. Your body is fully supported, surrounded by quiet structure and immense stillness. As the ship glides onward through this cold and shadowed calm, it carries you deeper into the heart of the nebula, toward regions where rest and creation quietly intertwine. And within this silence, wrapped in darkness and calm, the universe pauses, content to wait. Within the cold stillness of the molecular clouds, something begins to change. It happens so gradually that it barely feels like change at all. In a few places, gas and dust have gathered a little more closely. Not suddenly, and not forcefully, but just enough. Gravity has been working here for a very long time. Patient and persistent, it draws particles inward, encouraging them to linger and allowing material to settle just a little closer together. These quiet regions are known as stellar nurseries. They are the earliest homes of future stars. The ship glides past one of these pockets of gathering matter now. From a distance, it appears as little more than a darker knot within the cloud, subtle and almost indistinguishable. Yet within it, material is slowly arranging itself, layer by layer and moment by moment. As matter gathers, motion increases just slightly. Not enough to disturb the surrounding calm, but enough to generate a faint warmth. This warmth does not blaze, and it does not shine outward yet. It remains wrapped inside dust and gas, protected and unseen. These forming stars are called protostars. They are not stars yet, but quiet centers of gathering, slowly preparing for a distant future. Around them, broad disks of material begin to take shape. Thin and wide, rotating gently, they contain elements once scattered throughout the nebula. Carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen move together here. These are the building blocks of planets, and much later, of life. From this vantage point, everything unfolds at a pace perfectly suited for rest. Thousands of years pass like moments. Millions drift by without sound. There is no urgency for ignition and no countdown to brightness. Only steady accumulation, guided by balance rather than force. The ship maintains a respectful distance as it glides around these nurseries. You are able to observe without intrusion, simply passing by as creation continues quietly on its own. Inside the ship, nothing changes. The lighting remains soft. The temperature stays steady. The gentle hum continues, unchanged and familiar. You may notice a deepening sense of comfort now, as though your body recognizes the rhythm of this place, Here, beginnings do not rush, growth does not strain. Everything unfolds when it is ready. Around the forming stars, the surrounding clouds remain cold and dark. They insulate gently, keeping energy contained and calm. Future light is being prepared without yet disturbing the night. As the ship moves onward, passing one nursery and then another, each wrapped in its own cocoon of stillness, you are carried alongside these beginnings for a time. You do not need to understand every detail. You do not need to trace the process step by step. It is enough to know that creation, at its gentlest, looks very much like rest. The deeper the ship drifts into the nebula, the softer everything feels. Movement slows. Thoughts thin. Awareness becomes light and unburdened. And as these quiet stellar nurseries continue their patient work, preparing warmth far in the future, you are free to let go completely. Supported by deep calm and endless time, the ship glides on, leaving the nurseries behind. Not finished, but content to continue, long after you have drifted into sleep. As the ship continues its slow passage through the Orion Nebula, the surrounding clouds begin to take on subtle forms. Nothing sharp appears and nothing abrupt emerges. Shapes develop quietly, as though the gas itself was stretching and settling over time. These graceful curves and soft pillars are shaped by light and by winds so gentle they are almost impossible to sense. From within the nebula, young stars begin to influence their surroundings, not with force or violence, but with a steady and continuous presence. They send out faint streams of particles, known as stellar winds, moving outward at measured speeds and carrying energy without urgency. Over thousands of years and then across millions more, these winds press gently against nearby gas and dust, not enough to scatter it, but enough to guide it, enough to nudge it slowly into flowing forms. Light plays its role as well. Ultraviolet radiation from young stars warms the surfaces of nearby clouds. It loosens particles in some regions, allowing thinner areas to recede, while denser portions remain behind. What forms is structure born from patience rather than impact. Long pillars stretch silently through space. Their tips glow faintly, while their bases remain anchored in darker clouds. Curving arcs emerge where gas yields slowly, layer by layer, to passing light. From the ship's window, these shapes resemble sculpture, but nothing here has been carved quickly. Each contour is a record of time itself, shaped softly, without urgency or strain. The ship glides past one such formation now. One side glows faintly, illuminated by distant stars, while the opposite side remains in gentle shadow. The contrast feels balanced and calm, never sharp or overwhelming. Inside the ship, nothing competes for your attention. The interior light remains steady. The familiar hum continues, even and unchanging. You are held in a state of ease as the universe demonstrates how form can arise without effort. These sculpted regions offer a quiet reminder. Change does not always arrive with disruption. Sometimes it arrives gradually, through consistent influence and quiet presence held over time. You may feel your own thoughts beginning to smooth now. Edges soften. Tension releases. Patterns settle naturally, as if the same gentle forces shaping the nebula are also passing through your mind. No part of this space asks anything of you. It simply exists, shaped by forces that never rush. The ship continues onward, passing curves and pillars, arcs of softly glowing gas, each one a testament to patience. Eventually, the glow begins to thin again. The gas grows less dense, and the sculpted forms drift farther into the distance, fading gently back into darker space. What remains is a sense of quiet order, a calm understanding that even the largest structures in the universe can be formed without strain. As these shapes fall behind you, their influence lingers, carrying a simple truth forward with you. Softness, applied consistently, can shape entire worlds. The ship begins to drift beyond the heart of the Orion Nebula. The surrounding clouds grow thinner now. Their glow softens and spreads out, fading gently, as though the light itself was slowly exhaling and returning to darkness. Nothing ends abruptly here. There is no clear boundary and no moment of departure to mark. The nebula releases the ship in the same way it welcomed it, patiently and quietly, without urgency. Beyond the window, stars begin to reappear. One by one, their points of light grow gently clearer as faint veils of gas and dust fall away. The sky opens again, deep and steady, familiar in its stillness. Behind you, the Orion Nebula continues exactly as it always has. Cold molecular clouds remain suspended in calm. Stellar nurseries continue gathering slowly. Light and gravity maintain their quiet exchange, unconcerned with being observed and unhurried by time. Nothing there needs completion. Ahead, open space stretches wide and undisturbed. Long distances rest in silence, holding nothing that requires attention. The ship's motion remains unchanged. It moves as smoothly as before, effortless and even, as though nothing significant has shifted at all. Inside, the warm interior light stays constant. The familiar hum continues, steady and reassuring, present without asking anything of you. You may notice how settled your body feels now, heavier in a comfortable way, fully supported, resting more deeply into stillness. Breathing flows slowly and naturally, without direction or effort. Thoughts pass less often now, and when they arrive, they move through lightly, leaving space behind them rather than stirring anything awake. Passing through the nebula leaves something subtle behind. Not excitement and not momentum, but a quiet understanding. An understanding that vast change can unfold without strain, that creation often begins in darkness and cold. That time is wide enough to hold everything gently. Far behind and far ahead, stars continue their long cycles. Dust drifts between them. Light crosses enormous distances with endless patience. None of this needs your attention anymore. The ship carries you onward through open space, not toward anything new, but deeper into rest itself, into calm, into a softness that asks nothing of you. You are safe here, held within a rhythm that does not rush and does not demand awareness. A rhythm that remains steady as sleep arrives. Whether sleep has already come or is still gently approaching, this calm continues. Quiet and uninterrupted, long after the words themselves grow less important. The Orion Nebula remains behind, glowing softly beneath Orion's belt, shaping future stars in its own time. And you remain here, wrapped in comfort, drifting within stillness, free to rest deeply and completely.